So one of the most common questions and one of our most popular webinars, to be honest, is one where we talk about emergency planning and disaster planning for businesses in your social media space. We know that when you're out there, you're going to get negative reviews. You're going to get a few trolls that comment on your sites. You're going to get spam traffic that happens. So how do you prepare for that, and what do you do when it happens? That is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Down Digi, where we're getting down to the business of digital marketing. I'm your host, Karina Keys. The best thing that you can do for your business is to plan ahead. Be ready for the unexpected, or sometimes the expected, because it's pretty common in today's age that you're going to get some type of negative review or some type of spam comment on one of your social posts, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever that may be. So start by building a task force. Include people from your marketing team, include people from your stakeholders and your HR, and kind of bring everybody together, lock them in a room, and I do mean literally lock them in a room, and take a day and do scenario planning. Think about all of the different things that could possibly happen to your organization, either through social media, through the press and public relations, and write them all out. Just make a long list and think worst case scenario. What happens if our CEO has a DUI? What happens if one of our employees gets charged with criminal activity or participating in a riot? What happens if somebody puts a spam link on a Facebook post? Think about every one of those scenarios. And then decide, how do you want to respond and who is the one to respond? Document that information and make sure that everybody in your organization knows what role they play when that situation comes up, who is supposed to respond, what they're going to say, and who needs to be notified. Have a plan in writing. So it could be, for example, we get an inappropriate link or spam link on a YouTube comment. For the record, it happened to us last week. It's going to happen to you. So we know internally who's monitoring all of the comments that happen on those sites, what the appropriate action is. In this case, we just blocked it and reported it as spam and moved on with our day and didn't get upset about it. But if something larger happens, who is it that's going to respond? What are the messages that need to be put out there, and who needs to be notified? That makes up your plan. Number 2, you want to isolate the origin. You want to determine and really dig in to find out, where is this starting from? Where's the origin of this event? Is it something that's happening on social media, or is it happening in a review? Did it start with a frustrated client? Kind of track it back to figure out, where did this come from, and how you can start by addressing that first. Figure out where all of this conflict is arising from and start there. Prioritize your response. The other part of that is you really want to be able to classify it. Is it some widespread event that's happening across multiple different media? For example, is it in a news story and in your social media and showing up on your reviews? Or is it just happening, is it just one frustrated client that's looking for an answer? That determines your response as well. Number 3 is you really want to evaluate the impact of the situation. Does it take a widespread and broad approach from multiple people within the organization, or can one person kind of quiet it down and handle that situation? Determine what the level of response needs to be. 4th, you want to mitigate the crisis. You want to really identify, can you address one person, one individual, or one organization and solve this challenge? And if that's the case, try to take it offline. Deal with it in a one-on-one situation by really empathizing with that person or that group that's frustrated. Show that you understand. You don't have to agree with them, and you don't have to tell them you're right, to be able to show a little empathy and let them know that you're listening. And finally, you want to be able to learn from the crisis. When everything is said and done, what did you learn from that scenario? Is there something that you should do differently in the future? Do you need to change a process or a service that you offer? Or is it just kind of a one and done thing that really wasn't predictable or preventable and will not likely happen again in the future? The other thing you can really do is study how other people have responded to different scenarios. And it's going to give you a really good idea of how you should or should not respond for yourself. So this is Down Digi. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you know more now than you did just a few short minutes ago. Until next week, cheers.